And welcome back to Flexible Games, where we are playing Foundation. And a little bit of a time lapse here, so I'm having to do some post narration, and I hope to do a decent job at it. I don't do this very often, just because it sort of is disjointed. But anyway, yeah, I thought I'd do a little bit here. So I've got roughly 80 minutes of footage and compressed down to 400%. And yeah, we're doing really well. So I realized that we are getting short on a lot of materials. So I go in and I start to buy some stone, some polished stone, and start selling jewelry to try to balance out the cost of buying those things. Now, I will say that the biggest issue that I have is tools. Tools become just such a monumental problem. And so later on in the time lapse here, I will work on bumping up our tool production as much as I can. And yeah, it's just a matter of trying to get enough material while losing a few people here and there, because we don't have enough service capacity to cover everybody. And so I was really hoping to get that going. Now, doing those tasks, sending soldiers on those hard tasks, once you get all the way through the end, one of the common payouts for that are extra tools. And so I make sure to keep doing that. I make sure to keep those soldiers sent out, so I get a little bit of a boost in my tool production, because right now it's relatively slow. You can see the golden statue that got finished down there. That statue finishes pretty early on, because those materials are actually being used by my sculptures, my builder sculptor areas. And yeah, those things actually finish pretty fast because they're marble, and because the sculptors were able to finish it pretty fast. Now, they did use a lot of tools. The statues and stuff that went into those did use a fair amount of tools, so that did not help matters. But the vast majority of tools go into the cathedral proper. It's over 1,000 tools to build the whole thing. And see, there we go. We're sending them off to the last level, and I do believe they are good to go. I think they're victorious there. And those little bits of tools, plus I have whatever trader I'm buying them off the trader, so he can come with anywhere from 10 to like 30 tools every time they pass through. And now there's only one of the trade people that will drop or sell me tools. Unfortunately, not all four. If all four were able to sell me tools, I might be much better off. But as you can see, we've got one done. We've got one of those done. And that means there's a little bit more service in there. And so 20 more people are able to get their service satisfied, which is really good, because it's very, very much needed to get that service, to stop bleeding off citizens from leaving because they're not getting any service at all. So yeah, one of the first things that finishes are all the big arches that I built there. And there's another help request. I don't think, do I do it? I must. Oh yeah, I guess I send them off. Like I said, I want to keep that going to try to get those tool payouts, because yeah, I need so many tools. It's pretty crazy. So that I think that knight statue, that golden knight statue, is done. I can see the little blue effects there, little blue banners that are down there. I think that's it for that one. And yeah, nothing else is building right now. So unfortunately, I built a whole bunch of fisher huts. None of those are built because I set priority on the cathedral. Now, there's a consequence that you'll see later on in the video of having this be a priority. One of which, obviously, is nothing else is being built. All of my builders are being sent to this cathedral. So nothing else is being built and nothing else is being upgraded. The problem with that is if I do a promotion and they want to upgrade their house, or if I promote serfs and they want to build a house, none of the builders are going to build that for them. And so one of the things I do much later in the episode here is I turn off the priority on the cathedral. It's pretty far along, but I have to turn that off so the builders start building other things. So now I'm really wanting to maximize my tool production. And so I built 2 more blacksmiths with a priority. And so those 2 blacksmiths are going to then drain completely all of my iron ingots. So it's sort of a cascading problem. We have immense amount of resources that go into this, and we're starting to lose some population. As you can see, I'm checking where my unemployment is and where to put people because, we need, as they leave, we need to keep them going. So yeah, it's kind of a struggle. And finally the weather clears up. Finally. That took so long for that to clear up. And basically my voice narration here and the software I use, I'm just getting slideshows of what I'm narrating over. So it's not a smooth video, unfortunately. Because the clip speed I have set to 400%, and the video software just can't quite keep up with that. I use Camtasia Studio, by the way, for all my videos. I want to learn Adobe. I want to, but one, it's really expensive, and I don't have the money. But two, it's so much more complex, so much more complicated than what I really need for the channel. I don't do a lot of editing. I try not to have really choppy edits in my videos. I try to record an episode as contiguous as possible. And so my need of super fancy editing software is usually not a very high. Some of the cathedral builds, I did a 7 days cathedral build. That was a custom video I made. I did the Vintage Story cathedral build. I highly recommend that video. That's about 200 hours of work into that building. And yeah, in pretty intensive amount of building. So a lot of there's a music overlay and there's some edits in that. The most edits I've ever done in a video was the very first 7 Days to Die series that I did. The very first one. I spent about 30 to 40 hours doing a custom intro. It's about a minute long. Roughly a minute. Maybe a little bit more than a minute. But it's about 30 hours of work for that minute clip to get that working right. And so that just gives you an idea of just how much time it takes. But if you haven't seen that, Just look through my playlists to my very first 7 days series. I mean, it goes back a ways. It's, like 4 years ago, maybe, about 4 years ago, where I did a 7 day series. The very first video is very, very customized. And I'm very proud of that. Not viewed very much, unfortunately. I mean, the amount of work that went into it compared to, the 200 views that it's gotten, not worth spending hours and hours and hours trying to do that for every single video. Now, other people might have other ideas about that. If you do it consistently enough, maybe you get more of an audience. But I've got almost 4,000 videos on my channel and 6,200 subs. I'm at the point now where if people don't know the kind of content I'm making, if they're not aware of the time and effort I put into all these videos, there's not much more I can do about that. But the cathedral now, we've got several sections done now. I see at least 4 sections done. So that's 80 capacity. So we are just about on the cusp of catering to all of the people who want or need service provided. And the fact that we're building so much now is reminiscent of the fact that we are making a ton of tools. Those 2 extra blacksmiths that I placed required a ton of tools. Now, I just did a bunch of promotions, and that is the baseline of the problem that I mentioned earlier. I did a bunch of those promotions, and all of the newcomers that were promoted, right, those all want housing. And any serfs that I upgrade to commoners are going to want to upgrade their housing. Now, the problem is all of the builders are prioritizing the cathedral. So no other houses are getting built. I really wanted the cathedral to have enough capacity before I did anything else. I wanted it to have enough capacity to cater to all of our population. So I'm constantly watching the weekly service numbers, as you just saw, to see if there's any lag, because it only happens near the end of the week where you have a ton of people who need service who can't get it anywhere else in the city. So there I'm placing another iron smelter because I've got lots of iron ore and we need more smelting. So unfortunately those take a while. Those buildings take a while. But I'm noticing that I have 0 iron, and that is now the bottleneck. So the bottleneck moved from tools. So I added tool production, and now it's jumped to iron. So now I need to upgrade iron production. I have already upgraded iron ore production, but I don't have enough smelting capacity in order to make up that difference. So once those actually go online, we'll actually be able to make vast amounts of tools. Like we start producing so many tools, it's pretty crazy, and the building just goes up really fast at that point. So there we go. We now have 7 sections done, and I'm just doing some maintenance stuff here. Unfortunately, I don't know. I'm trying to upgrade one of my soldiers so I can have another knight, which is why I added those soldiers several episodes ago. I wanted another knight, and that basically ensures success on those very difficult numbers. Okay, so that actually did not completely fill up, right? So that told me that we now have enough capacity to cover everybody. We have enough capacity, but I don't think I have unset the priority. It's when I start seeing serfs leave that I become worried. Yeah, see, there's the arrow is still depressed there. It's still highlighted. And there I'm checking it again as the day goes by. And Gloria, it's reset. So now I know that we have enough capacity that we can cater to all of our needs. So any added section to the building now, I just named it St. Buford's Cathedral. It's the same name that I use for the 7 Days Cathedral. It's kind of a running inside joke to the family. Anyway, getting some more people, and at any time now. I'm sending another group away. Being at fast speed, when I played through this, obviously I wasn't going at like 12x speed. It didn't feel like this fast. But yeah, we're cruising right along there. We're 16 and a half minutes in, and the cathedral's almost fully built. Remember, this footage is sped up 4x. So the game is set to 3x, and then we're going another 4x on top of that. Now, I don't know if that's 4x by 3x, if that's 7x, or if it's 12x. I want to say you multiply those two, right? It's 12x speed because we're playing at 3 and we're the footage is at 4. So 3x times 4x, I mean, it's got to be 12x, right? I don't know how that math works, but it just makes sense to me that you'd multiply those two values, not add them together. Okay, so we should be, see, we're seeing no access to comfort, which is a problem. And as soon as I start seeing, I glance at houses there. See, all those houses I'm seeing as unfinished and unupgraded. And so we need those builders to start prioritizing the houses. And so I think at this point, maybe not. I'm trying to remember at what point in this map that I start, that I realize that I can't do it all and I have to let my builders do other projects. For a while, I see that I need to prioritize those houses as well. So I try that first. Then I realize, we're already catering to all of the population. There's no reason. I don't know why I keep switching the camera view. I thought I just let it sit. Then I move again. So yeah, I there it is. I just unprioritized that because I saw even more serfs that were leaving the village, and I'm like, oh man, I can't have that. So I go through and again, I add workers to buildings that they have abandoned because comfort is the main reason why I've been losing people. And you can see they're already building those fisher huts. So these have already started building right away, which is amazing. So there I promote a bunch more people. Now that I know builders are going to be around to build the houses, I feel comfortable more in building the or promoting the users. So yeah, this was a very fast-paced episode. There's no sound effects to the game because, I can't really have sound effects to the game when they're sped up 4x. They would just sound really weird. But that's going to have to do it for this episode. And I thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.